Hello, dear friends, and welcome to Inktober Day 20. And yeah, we have seen my murder weapon of choice just being splayed across the table there because I don't know. I'm not very good at Copic markers. I like the idea of Copic markers a lot. I really like when people do, I think it's called cell shading, where, you do that comic book style shading, which I feel like would be really good for me to learn because I really need to up my light and dark shadow game. So if there's one thing that the old masters share, and I didn't realize this because I am not classically trained, but my significant other totally is. And we were in an art museum and I was looking at some Vermeer paintings and I was like, okay, I mean, they're okay. They're nice. I sort of get it. I don't know. I wasn't getting a strong emotional reaction from them. And that's fine. Everyone has their personal taste. But I kind of said this to him and he was like, yeah, no, I don't really either. But if you really want to appreciate them, regardless of the emotional input, you should look at the lighting. And man, can that guy do lighting. Like, once I started going around the museum looking at how he does lighting, it was much more fun. And I love museums and I love art museums. You could just, that's one of my favorite places on earth. But yeah, it's really interesting when you really understand something that is so subtle that when you're not trained to see it, you don't notice it. And you know that it's important, but you don't really know why it's important. And I feel like that's kind of like how lighting is for me, and I really, really want to become really good at it. So I feel like that was what my goal with getting Copic markers was. I'm still very far from that because mostly I'm just trying to not make them look like a Smurf vomited on the page. But yeah, we'll get there one day, I guess. The reason I brought out the Copic markers though was just because I was struggling a lot with Inktober. Like yesterday, I'd put a lot of pressure on myself to, do one of my favorite stories of all time and put that into a piece of art and then also work on lighting, which is something that I'm finding really difficult to do. And it was a lot. So today, it's not that Copics are not a lot because they are, especially for me. But I just thought I would do something very different to try and break the pace of Inktober a bit, just to kind of keep it fresh and keep me feel like I'm learning stuff instead of kind of stagnating, because I kind of am now at the place where I've started to get familiar with the materials again, and it feels to me like I'm sort of losing ground because you've experienced that really fast acceleration from really rubbish to competent, and then now you're sort of on that plateau of okay, well, you're okay, but you need to up your game a little bit. And I just was starting to feel very, very judgy of myself. So I thought, okay, well, let's just do something that I'm not particularly sure that I'm good at, to give myself, just some space to be a beginner again. So anyway, I thought instead of telling you about this piece and how it relates to trade, I would read you a little story I wrote to go with this piece. The Outfoxed Fox. Late at night, the chickens slept oh so deep. Everyone on the farm was fast asleep. The cows dreamt dreams of open plains. The horses nickered, imagining life with no reins. No one needed to count any sheep. Everyone on the farm was fast asleep. But one fox was not in bed. Softly, slowly, sneakily, he tread. One padded paw, then the other, just like he'd been taught by his mother. Into the chicken coop he softly went, creeping in via the vent. Sleeping hens lay unaware that our fox was even there. But all moms teach their children to survive. The chickens had a trick to help them thrive. One hen guarded and hid in bed. She watched as the fox slowly tread around the coop, unaware that she knew he was there. She waited till the perfect time to reveal the fox's crime. The light flickered on, the farm dogs roared. Back through the vent, the fox friend soared. For another night, the chicks could rest under the safe watch of the guard hen's nest. Late at night, the chickens slept oh so deep. Everyone on the farm went back to sleep. The end. So yeah, that's how this relates to tread. I thought of a little fox treading softly through the chicken's nest. And it's quite funny because I read this to the significant other and he was like, wow, no one died. I was waiting for that to get really dark and it didn't. So yeah, I guess that's just part of who I am, is I'm the person who tells dark fairy tales. But yeah, I don't know, I kind of, a little part of me rebelled against making the fox like a stereotypical little fox villain. But at the same time, we have these stories because that is how animals are. And we have these stereotypes because it explains things in nature that we don't really understand otherwise, because, you know, somebody is not trying to be a hunter and a predator to be vindictive. They're just trying to survive. And I tried to emphasize that a little bit with the story. And yeah, I didn't want to villainize anyone who was just trying to live their best life, even if it is being a predator. So yeah, I had fun. It was good. And I feel a bit more invigorated. And I hope that you aren't struggling too much with Inktober. I'm sure it's getting a little bit rough for everyone, but we'll do it, guys. We'll hang in there. And I hope that you have an awesome day. Okay, please like and subscribe. Love you lots. Bye.